Let's cross now to journalist and former CIA analyst John Kiriakou, joining us right now from Washington, D.C. John, I'm glad to have you join me now. First,
the pleasure's mine.
Exactly. Now, first, the fight in the Oval Office, and now Trump has openly stated that he has refused Zelensky's request to continue talks for the moment. What's your reaction to all of this?
Well, first, let me say, I've been in Washington for more than 42 years. I'm 60 years old, and never in my lifetime have I ever seen anything like what we saw unfold in the Oval Office today. It was a dramatic scene, and it's not just front to back coverage on American networks. This is global news. I think that for all intents and purposes, Zelensky is done. I wouldn't be surprised if in 3 months Zelensky is living in London or some such place, Dubai, who knows? But I think that he is done, and I think we're going to see this conflict begin to wind down very quickly.
All right, who knows? He could seek the help of Elon to go to the moon.
That's right.
Now, Trump also said that Zelensky must stop criticizing Putin and prove he's actually seeking peace. What do you think? Do you think that is going to happen?
No. I think instead what will happen is that Zelensky will have to be removed. Because if Zelensky continues to be an impediment to peace, blocking peace, or blocking real talks to lead to peace, he's just going to have to be removed. You know, they've got this provision in the Ukrainian constitution where they don't have to have elections during a time of martial law, and they've got this declaration of martial law now. Maybe it's time to take a second look at that, get him out, and elect somebody who can negotiate in good faith with the Russian government.
Meanwhile, reports are coming in that the White House is now considering halting all military aid to Ukraine. And Trump hinted Zelensky might not get any more U.S. help if he doesn't agree to a ceasefire. What do you make of that?
Yes. I could actually see that happen sooner rather than later. You know, Zelensky made a comment, too, about being able to rely on NATO. He can't rely on NATO. NATO does not have the wherewithal. They do not have the weapons stores. They do not have what is necessary to keep propping up the Ukrainian government. If the United States pulls out, and it looks very much that the United States is in the process now of pulling out, the conflict is over. It's done. And this is something that Zelensky either does not understand yet or is not willing to accept. But this is today's reality. And it was laid out in the Oval Office this afternoon for all to see.
All right, even Lindsey Graham, who has been a huge supporter of Ukraine throughout the war, has come out on the side of Trump this time around. Let's take a listen.
President Trump was in a very good mood last night. Somebody asked me, am I embarrassed about Trump? I have never been more proud of the president. I was very proud of J.D. Vance, standing up for our country. We want to be helpful. What I saw in the Oval Office was disrespectful, and I don't know if we can ever do business with Zelensky again.
Well, do we say now, I'll ask the question now, is Ukraine a busted flush now, or is Zelensky taking a huge gamble that he thinks might ultimately pay off? What are you seeing?
I think right now, in these hours after this Oval Office meeting, Zelensky wants to roll the dice and take that gamble. I think that cooler heads will prevail in the coming days. And let me say something about Lindsey Graham. Lindsey Graham is one of the least effective members of the United States Senate, and he's probably the one senator who is on television the most in America. In the Congress of the United States, we have workhorses and we have show horses, and Lindsey Graham is a show horse. So when you've lost Lindsey Graham, you've lost the war. It's over. Lindsey Graham now bowing down before Donald Trump is a message to Vladimir Zelensky that it's time to just stop.
All right, an EU top diplomat in defense of Zelensky said that the free world now needs a new leader. Are we witnessing a collective West splitting in two halves right now?
No, I don't think so. And I come to that conclusion for a couple of reasons. First of all, Donald Trump is already a lame duck, which means he cannot run for re-election. He's not going to be president in 4 years. And the deep state, the CIA, the FBI, the NSA, as well as NATO, the European Union, they can just wait for 4 years until he's not the president and just hope that a Democrat is elected president, I suppose. But no, I think that much of the rest of the world has come around to this point of view. I think that much of the American electorate has come around to this point of view, that war isn't good for anybody. And there are a lot of Americans now who understand the American role in Ukraine in 2014. They understand why the Russian government sent troops into Ukraine. They understand that American policy was a failure, and it's time to start fresh. Also, nobody wins in these wars. They bankrupt nations, they kill and they maim. If we're going to stand up for peace, then let's stand up for peace. And this is a good way to start, by ending this conflict in Ukraine.
Of course, that is what Putin has been saying over the years. Let's talk, let's dialogue, let's end this.
Exactly.
There's so much at stake to help countries grow, citizens develop, become prosperous. Now, some Democrats have said that the U.S. administration has positioned itself on the side of Russia in the Ukraine crisis and that it's betraying the nation's values. I wonder what your comment is. Is that what you see?
No, that is not at all what I see. What I see is that the use of sanctions as a weapon has failed for the United States. I see that the State Department's policy of working as hard as possible to not speak to our adversaries has failed. I see that Donald Trump recognizes that we are in a multipolar world, not a unipolar world, and that whether the United States likes the Russian government or likes the Chinese government or not, it has to engage with the Russian government and the Chinese government and any government. So I think that this is realpolitik, as Henry Kissinger used to say. We have to recognize the reality of the day and deal with it. We can't just pretend that we're the world's only superpower and take it from there. It doesn't work. And instead, it's going to bankrupt our country. We have to change this policy. And I think Donald Trump understands that, and that's what he's doing.
Absolutely spot on there. Thank you so much, John Kiriakou, journalist and former CIA analyst. Really nice to have you on. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much for the invitation.
Great. Right.